Okay, getting back to some of our topics that we had here, I'd mentioned that Jerry Szeszulski would be with us. American National Insurance. Antique insurance, is that the age of your policy or special coverage that you need?
It could be antique insurance. If you haven't looked at it in a while, it may be an antique policy. That was a good point.
Something that you want to check out. You know, we talk about it over and over again. People get a policy, and it's a good policy, but they get burned because they didn't bother to check what the policy actually said. They just, okay, well, they feel good making the payment. Man, that feels good.
Peace of mind.
I've got
insurance.
Coverage.
You feel really like, you know, you've got coverage, but do you have coverage?
And antique is
Antique is a great topic to talk about because, and there's a difference between an antique and an heirloom. An heirloom may be something that your great-great-grandparents had and it's been passed down from generation to generation, but it really has no
sentimental.
Sentimental. It has no real economic value. But what I'm talking about is if you've spent money on something that's antique and it has an appraised value, you're going to lose money because your policy actually works against you in that case.
The policy is to replace with new.
Right, and that's not what you want. The value is because it's old. So the way to protect yourself in that situation would be to have an appraisal done and then put it on a personal property floater, the same thing that you would put your jewelry on or a fur. Your antiques go on there, your fine art goes on there. It's very, very inexpensive, but then it pays to fix it, to replace it, or up to the appraised value, whichever's less of the three, and it does it at no deductible.
Well, I would think most people that have a lot of antiques would know this, but people maybe like me, I might have a couple of antiques, and they may be valuable, but I don't have so many that I would really think, oh, I've got to protect my investment. So how many antiques can you have, or what's the general value for a homeowner's policy before you need to look at a rider?
Ask
your agent?
No, it's such a great question because it's what is of value to you? If you can financially afford to lose it and you don't care, then you're good if you can self-insure for it. But if it's valuable to you and you would feel a financial devastation if you lost it, then you need to see what it costs to insure it. Ask, because it's so inexpensive. And it's ironic, I kind of laughed or smiled when you said, well, if you have a lot of antiques, you're probably okay. No. You probably haven't looked at your policy. Who reads their homeowner's policy, for crying out loud? Nobody.
Mine's in the pile of someday I'll read.
Yeah, and
by then I'll get a new one.
Don't operate heavy equipment right after, because you're going to fall asleep. The point is if you've got antiques, you need to talk to your agent about it because that's a hidden deductible that I'm always trying to tell people about. That
came up from the insurance review, which you do, and we talk about it. And I know people are probably tired of, oh, insurance review. They're talking about insurance review again. Let me tell you something. Your house burns down, you have a flood, a pipe breaks, and all of a sudden you're thinking, why didn't I do that insurance review thing with Jerry so that I could make sure that all my stuff's going to be replaced? Because there are so many things that just a standard policy won't cover. Or maybe my story, which I've said 1,000 times, I walked out of your office and I saved $60 a month, and I thought you were going to be selling me more. That's what really made me a believer about take Jerry's insurance review.
Whether you do it with me or you do it with someone like me, it's very important that you get with your agent.
Come on, really. How many people are there like you?
Well, with my last name,
come on. Okay.
that makes it unique. But whether it's me or another insurance agent, you need to sit down and find out what are my hidden deductibles, because it's very uncomfortable at the time of loss. And that's where that J.D. Power study comes in. 20% of the people that have a loss, their first loss, are very disappointed, so disappointed that they want to leave the insurance company. The insurance policy did not change from the time they bought it to the time they had the claim. They just didn't know what was coming. They had hidden deductibles. I tell you, life sure changes. The number of kids you have, how many autos you have. That's a great point as well.
All of
your circumstances have changed. Maybe when you bought the policy, it was perfect for you, but now 10 years later, it doesn't meet your needs, and it doesn't cost anything. And an ounce, what's that saying, Jeff?
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And think about it, are these things really replaceable? Can you go to Kmart and get an antique?
That is exactly true.
You probably can't go to New Bedford, wherever, and get it.
You can go to Christie's.
Or France.
Maybe.
For the Louis XVI bedroom suite that you have.
It's irreplaceable.
254-2578. Jerry Szeszulski, at American National Insurance. Just take the spelling off your screen. We'll have to leave it up for about 30 minutes.
Yeah, just look for the number. The phone number is the most important part.
Buy some extra time here so people can write down your name. 254-2578. We are watching The Future of Real Estate, Tulsa's source for local real estate news and information. Coming up later in the program, FHA and bond money, what it does to your house payment. Jeff Sargent's with us with O&B Residential Mortgage, and also the Tulsa area real estate market, the real stats. What's happening here? You've heard the national news. What does it look like on Tulsa's front? But first, let's take a look at some houses that we've got available for you at DarrylBaskin.com. One address, thousands